School districts across Nebraska received false school shooting threats this morning.
That's right. Several police departments had to respond to school shooting calls this morning, but all of them were deemed false. Channel 8's Matthew Mitleider has more.
It's being referred to as swatting, where a caller will make fake threats to the police about a shooting in order to create panic and draw authorities to locations. At least 10 of these threatening calls were made in multiple Nebraska districts and schools today, including at Lincoln High School, according to Nebraska State Patrol. In Hastings, officials say after getting the call, the high school there was placed on lockdown. Police then went room to room to ensure the safety of all students.
It seemed different than most calls. Typically if there's an emergency, it comes in on our 911 line. Not always, but most of the time. There was no background noise. The caller repeated himself multiple times, almost as if he was reading from a script. He was very hard to understand.
In Columbus, police say there was a report of at least 3 SCOTUS students who had been shot in a math room, but those claims were deemed not true. Omaha found a similar report to be false at the Omaha South High School. The trend of hoax calls targeting schools has been growing recently in states across the country, including Colorado, Idaho, Minnesota, Texas, Arkansas, California, and more.
A lot of families, a lot of kids, a lot of teachers have been victimized. It's 100% unacceptable behavior. Everybody across our state executed in times of incredible fear and anxiety and tension. They executed to protect our kids perfectly.
In Lincoln, LPS confirmed that police received a phone call reporting an emergency at a school and said police worked quickly to determine the call was a hoax and part of the swatting trend. Calls were also reported in Grand Island, Kearney, and Gering, Nebraska, putting police on high alert.
We have to take them all seriously just as though they are real until we determine it otherwise. So that's the biggest frustration I have, is that resources are wasted on and perhaps taken away from a true emergency where we could be of help.
State Patrol and other officials say while there was no danger to anyone today, swatting calls do cause a disruption to both schools and police. They said they've been aware of the trend since last year, and on Monday put out a bulletin to law enforcement agencies across the state in preparation of this possibility.
When we are finished with our investigation and hopefully identify and prosecute the person or people responsible for this, that's one of the components, is the disruption and the misuse of emergency services.
They say they'll continue to assist any local law enforcement agencies and school districts that receive these calls. Reporting in Lincoln, Matthew Mitleider, Channel 8 News.
And officials said they don't yet know why these calls were made or even where they came from, but as of right now, the disruption was minimal and no one was injured.
They say the FBI is involved and is following these types of calls all around the country to try and find out who is behind them.